Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled in the heart of the ancient world, lived two remarkable women whose faith and love would change the course of history. Their names were Lois and Eunice, a grandmother and mother duo whose story of unwavering faith, incredible bravery, and boundless love for God would inspire generations to come. This is their story, filled with whimsical adventure, suspenseful moments, and captivating lessons of faith and courage. The sun had just begun to rise over the village of Lystra, painting the sky with hues of pink and gold. Birds chirped merrily as villagers started their day. In a quaint house at the edge of the village, young Timothy was helping his mother, Eunice, and his grandmother, Lois, with the morning chores. "Timothy, dear, could you fetch some water from the well?" Eunice asked, her eyes twinkling with warmth. "Of course, Mother," Timothy replied, grabbing the wooden bucket and heading outside. As he walked towards the well, he noticed a scroll lying on the ground. It was sealed with a peculiar emblem he had never seen before. Curiosity piqued, Timothy picked up the scroll and rushed back home. "Mother! Grandmother! Look what I found!" Lois and Eunice exchanged puzzled glances before Eunice carefully broke the seal and unrolled the scroll. Her eyes widened as she read the contents. "It's a letter from the Apostle Paul," she exclaimed. "He speaks of Timothy's faith and how it reminds him of our own." Lois nodded, her eyes filled with pride. "Paul mentions our faith, Eunice, and how it lives on in Timothy. This is a great honor." Timothy's heart swelled with joy and a sense of responsibility. He had always admired Paul, and to receive such a letter was nothing short of miraculous. As the days passed, Timothy couldn't stop thinking about the letter. One evening, as the family gathered for their nightly prayers, a knock on the door startled them. Standing at the doorstep was a man dressed in tattered clothes, his face shadowed by a hood. "Please, may I come in?" he whispered urgently. "I bring news from Paul." Eunice and Lois exchanged worried glances but nodded, allowing the stranger inside. He introduced himself as Silas, a companion of Paul. "Paul has been imprisoned for preaching the gospel," Silas explained, his voice heavy with concern. "He sent me to find you, Timothy. He believes you have a great role to play in spreading the word of God." Timothy's eyes widened in disbelief. "But I'm just a boy. How can I help?" Silas smiled gently. "Paul sees something special in you. Your faith, passed down from your grandmother and mother, is strong. We must journey to Ephesus to support Paul and continue his work." Eunice and Lois felt a mix of fear and pride. They knew this journey would be dangerous, but they also believed in the strength of their faith. "We must pray for guidance," Lois said firmly, "and prepare for the journey ahead." The next morning, Timothy, Eunice, Lois, and Silas set off on their journey. Their path led them through an enchanted forest known for its magical creatures and mysterious happenings. The trees seemed to whisper secrets, and the air was filled with an otherworldly glow. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they encountered a talking squirrel named Nutmeg. "Greetings, travelers," Nutmeg chirped. "What brings you to the enchanted forest?" Timothy, fascinated by the squirrel, explained their mission. Nutmeg's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I shall guide you through the forest, but beware of the mischief sprites. They love to play tricks on travelers." True to Nutmeg's warning, the mischief sprites soon appeared, darting around and causing all sorts of chaos. They turned paths into mazes, made rocks look like gold, and even tried to steal their food. But Lois, with her wisdom, used her knowledge of the scriptures to outwit the sprites. "Remember, Timothy," she said, "just as God protected Daniel in the lion's den, he will protect us. Have faith." With Lois's guidance and Nutmeg's help, they managed to navigate the forest safely. The mischief sprites, realizing they couldn't outsmart the faithful travelers, finally left them in peace. After days of travel, they reached the bustling city of Ephesus. The city was a hub of activity, with merchants selling exotic goods, street performers entertaining crowds, and people from all walks of life mingling in the marketplaces. Silas led them to a hidden house where other followers of Paul were gathered. The group was a mix of people, from former Roman soldiers to humble fishermen, all united by their faith. "We must be careful," Silas cautioned. "The authorities are on high alert for anyone spreading Paul's teachings." Timothy felt a mix of fear and excitement. He listened intently as Silas shared Paul's letters and teachings with the group. The more he learned, the more determined he became to carry on Paul's mission. One evening, as they were gathered in prayer, the door burst open, and soldiers stormed in. "You are under arrest for defying the emperor's orders," the captain bellowed. Panic ensued, but Eunice stood tall, her voice steady. "We are not afraid, for God is with us." Lois, with her calm demeanor, recited verses of hope and courage, inspiring the group to stand firm in their faith. Despite the fear, a sense of peace enveloped them, and they were led away without resistance. The trial was held in a grand hall, with a stern judge presiding. The charges were read, and the penalty for defying the emperor was clear: imprisonment or worse. But Eunice and Lois remained unshaken, their faith a beacon of strength for Timothy and the others. As the judge prepared to deliver the verdict, a loud commotion erupted outside. A crowd had gathered, chanting for the release of the prisoners. Among them were people who had been touched by Paul's teachings and those who had witnessed the unwavering faith of Lois and Eunice. The judge, taken aback by the support for the prisoners, hesitated. "Why do you risk your lives for this man Paul?" he asked. Timothy, his voice clear and confident, replied, "Because his teachings are of love, faith, and hope. We stand for what is right, even in the face of danger." Moved by Timothy's words and the crowd's support, the judge decided to release them with a stern warning to cease their activities. The group rejoiced, their faith and courage triumphant. With their newfound freedom, Timothy, Eunice, and Lois continued their work with renewed vigor. They traveled from town to town, sharing Paul's teachings and spreading the message of God's love. Timothy grew into a wise and compassionate leader, guided by the faith and wisdom of his mother and grandmother. Years later, Timothy would remember the lessons of bravery, faith, and love taught by Lois and Eunice. He would pass these lessons on to others, ensuring that their legacy lived on. And so, the story of Lois and Eunice, the faithful grandmother and mother, became a cherished tale, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who heard it. Their unwavering faith and boundless love for God reminded everyone that even in the face of danger, faith can move mountains and light the darkest paths. Wow! What an incredible adventure we just had with Timothy, Lois, and Eunice. Did you feel the excitement and courage in their hearts? Remember, their faith and bravery remind us that we can do amazing things when we believe in ourselves and trust in God. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more amazing tales, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We have so many more fun and whimsical Bible stories just waiting to be shared with you. And hey, share this story with your friends so they can join in on the fun too. Thanks for being part of our adventure today. See you next time, adventurers.